Alex, I feel like you are so good at making friends with people. So, what is your secret, or what advice do you have for making friends?
So I just feel like I'm an extrovert by nature, and I'm also somebody that grew up in a household that really valued diversity, inclusion, being open to new experiences. And so I think that, that's really important when you enter into any sort of dialogue with someone new. I don't think personally, I think friendships are like any other relationship. So you really have to nurture and, kind of water them in order for them to grow. And so I definitely believe in the idea of quality over quantity. And although I am very extroverted and may seem like I have a lot of friends, I actually, in my life, consider a smaller group of people my actual friends.
Yeah, I feel like I relate to that a lot.
Yeah. So
touching on acquaintances, how do you think you get past the point between just knowing somebody versus being friends with them?
For me, it's really important to have somebody's phone number. A phone number these days seems very personal. And by having that, I feel like you can then take the relationship to the next level should you both decide to do so. And I think that's kind of how our relationship has even evolved, was just, being friends on Instagram, acquaintances on Instagram, to then feeling like we had enough in common or a way to talk offline.
Totally.
So yeah, that would be my advice for a first step.
Do you feel like you have friends as an adult, and do you put yourself in situations to meet new people?
I definitely feel like I have friends as an adult. I do think that you have to work a little bit harder to nurture those friendships than you did as a kid, because you were put in situations where it was much easier to sustain those friendships. I try to network and, support as many people as possible, and see if that flourishes into, a collaboration, a working relationship, or, the North Star is obviously a personal friendship. But I definitely try to put myself out there, because otherwise I wouldn't meet anyone.
Right.
I started with my partner Danielle a collective for women in the East Bay this past February. And I did it really out of necessity, because I couldn't find any in this area that really sort of catered to my interests or were inclusive of even my career or what I was looking for. And so by doing that, it really had to force me to open myself up to opportunities in new industries, like food and beverage. I've made a lot of new relationships through that, which I never would have before. So you definitely have to put yourself out there. And by putting yourself out there, you also start to develop a community, and you start to develop the kind of community you want, because you're putting out that energy that you're inclusive and that you're accessible. And so we've really kind of built something, I think, that's special, and we want to continue to evolve it. And we want to continue to work with people like you, who are talents in the community and who have something like a larger message to offer. So yeah.
I think that's really great. I feel like so much about facilitating friendships is about like providing a space or a common ground. And it seems like Brightside really does that. I know your events generally are pretty large group based, but do you feel like you personally do better in one-on-one settings or in group settings, or a combo of both?
I think in my personal life, I prefer smaller groups or one-on-ones, because I feel like you can be vulnerable and you can be yourself, and you can really open up to that person about things that maybe you wouldn't be comfortable opening up to a larger group about. And so I definitely think that it facilitates, that deeper connection that you really need to kind of sustain a relationship or let someone into all the aspects of your life, which are not always pretty. So I prefer personally in my life one-on-one or small group kind of hangs. But for Brightside, I think that after doing the friendship dinner, we're definitely looking to do more events that are on a smaller scale, more intimate, because people then really get to know each other and they don't feel as self-conscious or feel that they can't approach people. So I think it's really important for us to do, large scale things that resonate with a lot of people and maybe some small scale things that are more niche.